탐제 근제 년제고 탐제 켄라의 근자인제 So for today I will be discussing about the view. So as I said yesterday, we talk about the view, meditation and conduct, which is related to ground, path and vision. So it is said that in the text that all your result and meditation or practice depends on the what kind of view that you have. If you have a right view, unmistaken view, and then all your meditation or practice will become authentic, unmistaken, and then the result will be unmistaken as well. In fact, if you don't have a view, and it will be very difficult to meditate, because meditation actually is nothing but the sustaining the view that you have. Of course, you can meditate without a view, trying to experiment, but then, as I said yesterday, that you are almost like pouring a water everywhere, not on the right seeds. And because of that, there's not seeds to be grown, to develop. So view, the right view, is like a seed for all our spiritual growths. So that's why, in general, especially in Buddhism, I think, we spend a lot of time and energy to establish the correct view. Because of that, we spend a lot of time to study, to investigate, to analyze through many means. This is why, because as long as you don't have a right view or the authentic view, you are still not ready actually. And establishing the right view is not easy, because there is so much confusion, and the gap between how things appear to us, how we experience, and how things really are is quite a big gap in a way. So there are many layers of view. For example, the understanding view, which is that we study, we understand. And then an experiential view, where you just don't live at the understanding, but through practicing you will experience certain levels of reality. And eventually the realization's view will be occurred within us. Even though the ultimate view is the view of realization, which will take some time, but when we study, when we practice Dharma, we have to start from the understanding view. This is not that difficult in a way. Understanding what is appearance, understanding what is dependent, understanding what is impermanent, and understanding how our mind creates illusion, suffering, and so forth. I think in our normal life also we can see that if you want to embark on a certain journey, let's say you're going in the car or something like that, view is very important, isn't it? Imagine that you're trying to drive and you don't have a view. It's very hard to know where you're going when you don't have a view. But not only that, that you might be going to completely wrong way. So having authentic view, it's similar to knowing where you really want to go. So that clarity, that vision, for example, when you try to do something, you have to have that vision. This is what I want. This is how it's supposed to be. And when you have that clarity, you will know very clearly what is you want, what is important, what is not important. And when you don't have that clarity and you are very confused about what is conducive for your vision and what is adverse circumstances for your vision. For example, if you want to cook nice meal, if you are clear about that, and then you will directly go to kitchen probably, instead of going into bathroom or bedroom and trying to spend time, energy there. And also you will very easily, for example, let's say you're going to shopping and you're very clear about that I'm cooking, therefore I'm going to shopping. So it's so very clear, you will pick up all those ingredients that is necessary for you. It doesn't take much energy because you know very clear what you really need. Probably you won't spend picking up books or toilet paper or something like that, if you are shopping for the cooking. And then maybe similarly, if you are buying like furniture, if you are clear about that, this is what I want, and probably instead of going to the normal supermarket, maybe you will directly go to the IKEA. Probably you're very clear about that. So you will save a lot of time, a lot of energy, and also you know very clear what you want and what you don't want, what is necessary and what is unnecessary. So you can see how important it is to have a clear view. If you don't have a clear view, it is almost like you are trying to go somewhere which you are not sure, and then you are just knocking to the right, left, sometimes going forward, sometimes coming backward. And actually this happens a lot also in our journey towards the enlightenment or in a spiritual journey, when you don't have a right view. And also this right view is like our how to say, it's like our energy, for example, if you are interested in something and if you are very clear about that, you don't have to put much effort, it will happen by itself. Similarly, when we are not very clear about our own view, then there's not much energy, there's not much like boost. And when you have a clear view, it is almost as if that you are you know where you wanted to go, and you know what is necessary, and what is the essential for that in order to achieve that vision. So everything becomes quite natural. And also it's a sense of self-confidence. If you have a proper view, you have this strong confidence that I can do it, I will do it, it is possible. If you don't have that kind of view, then sometimes it seems like maybe it's possible, and then when you encounter certain difficulties, you might feel like, oh, maybe it's not possible. So it's quite a slow kind of development in our spiritual growth. So understanding what is your aim what is your vision, what is the purpose of our life, so to speak, in Buddhism. Even we can call it the view of Dharma, but in reality it is not much different than the view of our who we are and what is our purpose. So I think we can speak about the view a little bit in philosophical way to give us some understanding, and then also we can speak a view from a little bit practical way. So generally there's a basic or the general view that as a Buddhist we should always keep in mind and remind ourselves in our daily life. And then there's a little bit how to say view that is more profound, that we should understand and gradually experience and realize. So, for example, as a Dharma practitioner, the one who is longing for inner freedom, let's say for example, I am a Buddhist, so this is my status in a way, my identity. And what is my view? What kind of view or the fundamental outlook that I should have is that in general we say that there's a when you judge yourself whether you're Buddhist or not, you can do it through the two ways. So first is more like fundamental, that you have to remember, you have to understand the three jewels. This is one. And the second, to check oneself whether one is Buddhist or not, is to see whether you have this able to be accept four realities or four seals. If you are trying, or if you understand, or if you are accepting these four realities, then you become a real Buddhist. Otherwise, I think we can call the admirer Buddhist, that we are admired to be to that, but still we are not that ready to accept this reality. So, for example, remembering Buddha as a teacher, remembering Dharma as in our path or supreme protector, and remembering Sangha as in our companion or spiritual or a spiritual friend, or the one who guides us. So, for example, if you are wandering somewhere and you wanted to reach certain place, and maybe, for example, we talk about this technology such as GPS, which reminds you where you are, where you're supposed to go, and what is your direction, right? So I think being a Buddhist, the three jewel is, I think we can call it the Buddhist GPS in a way. For example, we can take Buddha as our guide, G, guide, and then his teachings or Dharma as in path, maybe the P, and then the Sangha as in the server who serves to the Dharma. So whenever you feel a little bit lost, I think you can just think about three jewel and then see, where you should go, where you are, and what is your responsibilities. Now, I think many times when we talk about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, we kind of imagine that, oh, Buddha, someone out there 2,500 years ago, and then Dharma is teaching. It's okay to understand. But it's also very, very important to understand that we are not really talking about something out there. We are mostly talking about what you will become. That's a very important. So, what I'm trying to say is that when we say Buddha, again, it is related to view that this is, for example, if you are doing certain kind of business, what you need? You need a vision, right? And you need a good strategy that is related to that vision, and then you need certain kind of resources, right? And then when you have a vision, you have strategy, you have resources, and then you're good to go. Similarly, whenever we talk about the three jewel, actually it's just reminding us what is our vision and what should be our strategy in order to fulfill that vision, and what kind of resources that we have. So now, for example, in this context, Buddha or the enlightenment is our vision among the three jewels. This is something that you wanted to become. And not only that, but having certain kind of confidence through the understanding the law of dependent origination and the Four Noble Truths, that if I practice this, it will eliminate the cause of suffering, and then it is possible to become enlightened, even people like me. So through that kind of understanding, having a faith and the confidence towards that enlightenment is impossible, the enlightenment is possible, and even people are like me. And having that kind of clarity, that will be our vision with the confident. Now, in order to fulfill or attain that kind of vision, we have to have a proper strategy that is related to that vision. And this is exactly what is Dharma. So Dharma is our strategy in order to reach to that vision of enlightenment. And now, okay, so there's a vision, there's a strategy, but do I have that kind of resources? And when you look at ourselves, am I capable to practice Dharma? do I have all these causes and conditions to practice Dharma? And then, as we say, that as long as you have this precious human life endowed with the freedoms and riches, you have all these resources. Now you only need is that little bit of diligent push. So what I'm trying to say is that the one framework view that as a Buddhist remember is that there's a Buddha, Dharma and Sangha as a guide, as a path, and as a companion is one way to understand. But then to take it more, make it more live, we should also think about our vision, our strategy, and our resources. So when we talk about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, we should also understand it in such a way that it becomes more something that you should be consider about your situations, instead of thinking something out there. Now the second thing, there are certain realities, it is completely unavoidable, and it is ultimate truth, inevitable. But somehow, because of our ignorance, illusion, short-sighted mind, and many reasons, we always try to deny those realities. At the beginning, we don't want to accept those realities. Not only that, but sometimes we even wanted to overcome that reality and change. Now the problem is that more you try to change the law of reality, more you suffer. This is the only game that you play that you will never win. But we try to do that here and there, try to not to become old, try not to become a sick, try not to die, all these kind of things. Try not to be changed. And we like to play that game. So this is a very wrong view, unfortunately. We have as in samsaric beings that is originated from the ignorance. Now, as a Dharma practitioner, if possible, you should wholeheartedly accept this reality and implement them in our daily life. If not, at least do not insist to change the law of nature, because it just creates more illusion and more pain. It doesn't solve the problem. So this, as we know, that Buddha says, if you accept these four realities, four seals, in the sense that Buddha almost like a sign, this is how things are. If you try to deny this, then it will just create more and more suffering. So better to accept it rather than denying it or changing it. So the understanding, the first one among the four, all compounded phenomena are impermanent. there's a phenomena that is compounded, dependent, it is naturally, it comes as an origin and it will remain for a certain time and then it will cease. So this is the law of compounded phenomena, and you have to accept that instead of denying this reality. We do a lot and the second thing is that all the emotions and our experiences which are based on the duality mind, which are based on the clinging, it always comes with a small sort of hope and fear. So no matter what it is, even though it looks like some sort of pleasure momentarily, if it is contaminated by this sense of clinging, duality, hope and fear, it is always ends as in suffering. So recognizing not just the gross suffering, but also understanding that how subtle emotions which might seem like happiness sooner or later bring certain kind of disappointment or sadness. And now the third, all the phenomena are empty and devoid of its nature. So this we will discuss more also, but it means that whatever we experience is not how things are. It is merely the reflections of our own mind, our own ignorance, our own dualistic mind. And the fourth, nirvana is beyond concept or conceptual mind. So when we talk about the ultimate happiness or ultimate goal or ultimate truth, the ultimate truth is not in the net or the set of duality mind or concept mind or conceptual mind. It is beyond all these kind of clingings and the extremes. So, for example, among these four, I think as being a good practitioner, maybe emptiness, non-dualities might be a little bit difficult for us to now practice. But actually impermanent is not that difficult because it's happening everywhere, and every day our experience are nothing but impermanent. But the problem is that we don't do these introspections, we don't analyze, and then even it's happening day by day, still we are confused and we are not ready to accept the reality. And we create our own illusions of clinging impermanent as impermanent. So more you cling to the impermanent as permanent, what happens is that your reaction towards the phenomena that is impermanent becomes much more stronger when you think it is a permanent, which means that it will trigger, it will create a certain kind of habits of excitement and disappointment that is completely exaggerated or denigrated. So you will never take these conditions or phenomena as it is, rather than you exaggerate it and become a completely overexcited, or you denigrate it and you become a completely disappointed. Because you are not seeing the reality, but you are just imputing your own reality towards the conditions, which is impermanent as a permanent. And also, and that's why Buddha also says many times that in fact, before he become a nirvana, before he become a pass away, his last teaching was that remember the impermanent. So there are many reasons understanding impermanent, because it will act as an reminder, as in what is really important for you. For example, let's say if we don't think much about that I'm going to die, I will have so much ideas and I will get confused. Or maybe I want to do that, or maybe I will do this, I will do that. But then now think how much time you have, and how much you're going to be live. And then ask what you really want. You have this life, in a way. So when you think about that, I'm going to die, not only that, but death is uncertain, it will give you quite a good, clear pictures of what is really important. That is so crucial, because especially these days, I think many of us are very distracted and almost forget that one day we will die. And then when we hit a little bit here and there, we get freaked out. Actually, it's nothing to be freaked out. It is part of life. Now, the second thing about impermanent is that people like me, like us, we all heard about impermanent, but still we are not really rushed. We are quite okay, as if that I have agreed with the impermanent, that I will only die when I'm 80 or 90. So now I'm just 40. I have still 40 years, a lot of time. That is a very big illusion. This is why is it happening is that I understand it, but then subconsciously I'm still convinced that I'm a permanent. Even my conscious mind is kind of understood that it's impermanent, but because lack of meditation, because I haven't meditated impermanent in my daily life, and because of that, it comes when we are listening, teaching, or when somebody dies, or when something happens. But then we always think, yeah, but not me. Right? And this might seem comforting, but is very almost like a cancer disease that will slowly destroy you. So second, by practicing or understanding impermanent, first it will gives you very clear about what is important for you. And second, we always postpone important thing, and we do something that is non-essential, such as worldly concerns, and that's why we don't have time for practice, we don't have time for dharma, we don't have time. Why? Because I have to do this, I have to do that. Right? Means we didn't prioritize still. We almost prioritize the mundane life instead of dharma life. So diligent. If you don't understand, if you don't practice impermanent, and then the diligent is very difficult. And then one day you will be struck as in surprise. And lastly, for example, if I understand the impermanence of this beautiful flower, I will enjoy more because it's impermanent. But at the same time, when the flower dies, I won't get disappointed because I take it as reality. Yeah? So such is strong. For example, if this flower stays for 1 year, maybe I won't really enjoy it as it is now on my table. Now this flower is so beautiful, it's precious. Why? Because it won't last long. So I have to, take care. So it's all about enjoying at the moment, but at the same time being able to let go. It's such an important part of our daily life. And most time we don't do that. We don't enjoy because we're distracted, or we get disappointed when something changes. And we ruin everything. So actually impermanent is not necessarily a bad thing, if you know how to take it. But unfortunately, we always misuse impermanent. That's the problem. So it's very important to use the impermanent properly. For instance, there's maybe you already know, there's this cherry blossom in Japan festival, something like that. It is so precious for them, and then many people comes from the different world just to see that. Of course, it is important. Why? Because it's a cherry blossom, beautiful flower. We understand that, but it's a flower. But it is very important. Why? Because in 1 year, it only stays around 3 days, something like that. Then you don't see them. So it becomes so precious because it's impermanent. Right? Imagine if this cherry blossom flower stays 1 month, probably we won't care. So impermanent not necessarily mean negative or something is wrong. It is just how it is. But then when we don't understand, when we don't know how to react with this impermanent, it becomes illusion, it becomes a suffering. So these are some general, maybe we can call it the foundational view or the outlook or the mindset that we should have as a Buddhist. If you have this kind of mindset, then you can consider oneself as maybe not necessarily Buddhist, but maybe realist. Realist. Someone who understands the reality and have the courage to accept it instead of trying to create your own illusion reality and try to deny the reality. And this is, as I said, that understanding the three jewels as in our GPS, and also understanding the three jewels as in our vision, strategy, and resources. And then what we should accept in all these four realities of our life as a reality, rather than trying to deny or change them. So I think these are, you can call it the foundational view. Now on top of that, of course, now when we talk about the Buddhist view, and we have to understand a little bit about the two truths, conventional truth and the ultimate truth. Because when we talk about the reality, so what is the reality? And when we say the conventional truth, we are talking about the how things appear to us and what is illusion. And when we say what is the ultimate truth, we are talking about the how things really are and what the reality is. So maybe I will talk about the two truths tomorrow. I'll stop here.